Welcome to a bonus episode of Seacoast Stories, a podcast about the inspiring people and businesses of New Hampshire and Maine. I am Troy Farkas, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the first episode of a new segment that we are entitling The Follow-Up. Brilliantly named, I know. This will be a segment that we'll do every couple weeks. It'll be a bonus episode in said week, and this will be where we bring on past beloved guests, past popular guests, and or guests who have done big things since the last time that we spoke to them. And when I thought about this series and who I wanted to talk to first, there was only one clear-cut answer, and it is the woman who was one of the very first people to join Seacoast Stories way back when. Her episode aired, I believe, at the end of June or beginning of July of 2024. One of the very first episodes of Seacoast Stories, Katy Marshall and I, Katy, who is the owner of Studio One, a fitness studio with locations in Dover and Portsmouth, we first spoke. This is really taking you behind the scenes of the show. We first spoke a few weeks before the first episode of Seacoast Stories had officially launched on June 17th of 24. I actually, when I approached her, it was for her to be on the previous iteration of my podcast, The Found Generation, which was a health and wellnessy, self-improvement, personal development style podcast. So I approached her for that. She agreed, but then I pivoted and was like, hey, Seacoast Stories, I'm going to talk to local business owners. You still apply. And that episode was really the episode that I credit for putting this podcast on the map. I remember so vividly, it was July 4th, and I opened my laptop to go to my analytics page, and I had seen that my episode with Katy in the first 3-4 days or whatever had gotten 230 downloads, which for me at the time would have been one of my most popular episodes of The Found Generation. And for my fourth episode of Seacoast Stories to have that many downloads, I was like, oh my God, I was on cloud nine and thought, wow, I may have landed on something here. And we've just been going up and up ever since. And Katy is a great friend of mine now because of that first appearance on the show. I actually had her back at Seacoast Stories Live January 9th at the press room in Portsmouth, January 9th of last year. And on that night, she announced exclusively for my audience that Studio One was coming to Portsmouth. It had previously been only in Dover. She announced that night that Studio One was coming to Portsmouth. What she did not say that night was that the reason they were coming to Portsmouth was because Studio One had acquired a fitness studio formerly known as Mission. Mission is no longer in the west end of Portsmouth. Studio One took it over. And on today's episode, Katy is going to take us behind the scenes of how that happened. The first conversation when she was approached about acquiring the studio, the very messy transition that it was, and Katy's very transparent about that, about how she had to try to convince the existing staff and existing membership to stay. She talks about a whole lot of stuff about how to create a culture, about how fitness is really reflective of our own inner narratives. We talk about a lot of things on this episode, including how difficult entrepreneurship is, how I eventually made my way to Studio One. You've heard me mention on the show before that is now my home gym. It's literally like my home gym. It's right next to where I live, and I'm so glad to be there. We talk about a lot. I'm going to get out of the way here. This is just a bonus episode for you to enjoy over this snowy weekend, and I look forward to talking to you all again on Monday with another episode. But for now, here's my conversation with the great Katy Marshall of Studio One. I first want to ask you, there's been this trend going on social media recently. I don't know why this has been happening, but everyone and their mother is posting photos of 2016 and what they were doing in 2016. And so, Katy, I want to ask you, what were you doing in January of 2016?
Yeah, I think I had just moved back from Seattle after a little bout of time there trying to figure life out. I was 23, I think. So yeah, it would be 10 years ago. That math adds up. And so I was living at home in my parents' house, kind of on the hunt for what was next, looking for a community, looking for a job even. And I walked into Mission, which used to be Mission, 10 years ago in 2016, looking for a front desk job. And that's what I was up to.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what a full circle moment this was. Take me back to the Mission days. Now, I've heard stories, and actually in a couple of days, I'm going to release an episode with your former coworker, I believe, Emma, who owns the yoga parlor in Hampton. So we talk on that episode about some of her mission experience. And so I've heard on air from people, I've heard off air from people about what it was like working with Mission. I will say this, you don't have to say this. I've heard some lovely things about it, but I've also heard some not so lovely things about it. So I'm just wondering your experience working there for the time that you did. How do you look back on that experience?
Well, I would say without that experience, I wouldn't have Studio One. So I think it was a part of my journey. I can't say it was the easiest time period of my life. I think I was exposed to cycling for the first time. It's where I became an instructor for the first time. It was enlightening in a lot of ways, but it also ignited this passion within me to teach. And so without that period, even though I was there for a couple of years and found that it was best for me to part ways, given just there was a lack of alignment there. By the time I was done, I was definitely ready to leave. But I knew that I had found something that I wanted to take and run with and find a way to do that for the rest of my life. At the time, I was like, this is the only thing that makes me feel alive. And so Mission was the place for me to get that experience, to try something new, and really ignited that passion within me. So I could talk for days about the things that happened during that time, but I really think when I look back on it, it was a very challenging experience, but it gave me the greatest gift at the end of it all.
Why didn't it feel aligned by the end?
I would say cultural differences and just how the energy within the space. And I think I just reached a point where the classes that I loved so much no longer made up for the things I didn't love outside of the classes. And so I was in a place where I knew this couldn't be it and there had to be a better way. I didn't know what that answer was. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that I could no longer walk in here and show up authentically.
Yeah.
The way that I want to.
Yeah. In our first episode, I think this might be what you're alluding to. I asked you about different teaching and leading styles. In the fitness world. You can be very like drill sergeant-y, trying to work you to the bone and get you to sweat out every last drop of sweat that you have and push you. Or you can be the hey, I'm here for you. Hey, I'm your best friend, but I'm going to tell you like it is. It's going to be softer. Maybe I'm not going to push you as hard, but you're going to want to come back rather than resent me. So is that kind of what you're getting at, the different philosophies?
Yeah, I'd say our brands were extremely different, but at that time it wasn't as clear cut. Like I can say early on in the Mission days, like there was a lot. I guess what I want to say is over time, your brand kind of develops further and further towards, you can focus it in more and more and more and what makes you unique. And I think the style that was developed here was not the style that I found to be the way forward for me as a person, but also the kind of direction, the kind of support that I'm looking for and the kind that I want to provide for others when they walk into our space is a very different style in that sense of, yeah, we want to be your best friend, but we also know like we want to be real with you. You kind of said it perfectly where it's like, we want to tell you like it is, but we also want you to feel empowered to make these decisions. Like you don't need me screaming at you or yelling at you or shaming you to do something. It's like, you have the power to do this. We're going to push you just enough to make that choice. And it's always going to be your choice. So I never want there to be any kind of like negative fear-based like energy walking into a fitness studio. Like what's the point of that? And I think that's where Studio One is designed to be welcoming and warm and an opportunity for someone who might not feel the most comfortable here or not find fitness to be a space for them. We are that option, whether they're nailing it or not. I don't give a shit. Like, are you moving your body?
Yeah.
That's what matters to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a spin class led by you or your amazing team of instructors, Rachel, Mary, I could go on and on. You're going to tell me, hey, turn up your wheel. You're going to encourage me to turn up my wheel, but you're not going to force me to. If I don't, you're not going to get on my case about it.
No. Because it's not my space to, and I think we all carry so much, our own relationship to whether it's our belief systems, our body, like those things are so deeply ingrained. And that's what we're messing with here. Like in the fitness industry, it's like we are directly impacting people's belief systems about themselves. And that runs really deep. And that's a whole can of worms I could talk about for a while. But it's like when we're selling, like we are selling an investment in yourself. And what is everything that we have if we don't have our health, right? So it's like all we're looking for is to create a space that one, makes people excited. One, and two, makes them feel connected. And those things together get them to come back, because you can't feel change. You can't make strides towards what you're looking for if you're not coming back, if you're still sitting at home or like still afraid to do it. Right. So like, how do we create a space that draws people in and gets them excited to come back without thought, without resentment, without fear, without this like feeling of judgment, like they don't belong there? Those are all barriers to preventing the average person who may really need this to change. And again, like, we have a tough job in that sense. I'm never going to shame somebody into being a better person. Like, we all carry enough shame with so many things in our life. Like, this space is not that, but it is going to push you and give you the choice, if you want to make the choice to level up, to grab heavier weights, to turn your wheel up, to interact with your neighbor and high five them. And maybe that's exactly what they need today to keep going. So that impact of the togetherness and the safety of just showing up as you are, like, you're going to have people pulling you when you need it and like helping you along the way. And so that's the kind of environment where it's like, I don't want us to feel like we're alone on this little like 2x5 mat. Like, yes, we have so much going on in that little space, but it's like the potential to change and to grow is really impacted when we blur that line and like pull people together. It's kind of how I see it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Now I have to open up the can of worms. You said that fitness really challenges our beliefs about ourselves. What exactly do you mean by that?
I think if you think about any average person, like, we have relationships to so many things, and how we spend our time, how we spend our energy, how we spend our money. If you don't have the belief system or the value system around fitness and moving your body, like, how do we convince you that that's something that you need, right? Because I think as humans, like, we believe things innately, and it's very hard to change those beliefs just by someone telling you to change it, right? Like, I can't just say, you need to, a simple example would be like, I need to drink more water. And it's like a simple thing like that. How many times have I heard that that's something I need to do? I'm still bad at it. That's like a surface level example, but there are things that we believe in innately. And I think it takes a lot for someone to change their belief if they are not seeing it with their own eyes, if they're not feeling it. How do you get them to show up into this space? Because that's what we're doing, is like trying to get the average person that may have like no idea that fitness is what they need or could help them in their life, get them in here for the first time to feel something new. And how do you spend your money? How do you spend your energy? Like, that shows you what you value. And I think there is a hesitancy for people. And I'm not saying you have to spend your money and time at Studio One. It's just the idea of, do we value moving our body? Because it's normally until something really bad happens, or we're older and we can't do the things we used to do, or that wake up call moment when we finally value moving our body. And it's like, when you show up here, I want to create the least barriers, like create and get rid of the barriers, I should say. I want to remove the barriers as best as I can to give someone a fighting chance to like feel something new. And that's what Studio One is doing. It's hitting people that aren't already in this world, that don't know what this feels like, that have never maybe accomplished something or pushed something, but their bodies or their mind in this way. And we're in the business of change, and change is hard. And we're constantly challenging people's willingness to like go there with themselves. And that's what we're doing in classes, is like, I'm not going to tell you, I can suggest anything, but the choice is always yours. Like, I'm not the one that's getting you out of bed in the morning. I'm not the one making those small choices, and keep staying consistent with yourself when nobody's looking or when things get really hard. Like, us as instructors, we can't be there. It is you at the end of the day. And like, we only get one of these bodies, just one, for the entire time we're here. And so when it comes down to it, like, I can get all caught up in our brand compared to other brands, or what people are doing on Instagram, and like the complexity of like choreography on a bike and like being the coolest. But I don't give a fuck about that. I just want people to show up here, because the real people showing up, doing the work, are the ones making a difference in their families, in their jobs, in the community, here in the Seacoast. And so that's really where, as this thing grows and as we get more people in, you have to stay, like I personally have to stay very zeroed in on the purpose here and the mission, get people to move their bodies. And it is that simple. But with that comes so much hesitancy and so many challenges within each individual and their own relationship to their body, their own relationship to movement, whether they value it or not. And typically when life gets hard, fitness is the first thing to go. It's the one thing that keeps us sane, but it's the first thing to go. So we're constantly battling that because life, like I'm a human too. Life is really freaking hard most of the time. And like, that's what this experience is. And so having a place like Studio One, and the purpose of it is a reliable space for you to come back to. Like, let's talk about you for a second, because you just started, it's 2026. And you started just before the end of the year, the end of 2025, right? Like as like a member. But you've been a champion for us since 2024. Like you've been so vocal and you've been, here and there, but it wasn't until something happened that made you make the jump. And I would love to know what that was.
Yeah. So I've been bouncing around. So I was at Seacoast Kettlebell for a while. Loved the classes. No shade against them. But I just eventually, I feel like with fitness, it's just such a pendulum. I was tired of the group classes.
Yep.
I was like, I just want to go back to my own thing.
Yep.
It's going at a pace where I think my body's kind of breaking down. I need to kind of do my own thing. I was also training for a half marathon as well. So I was like, all right, let me go to Flight House Gym in Rye, which I also love. Shout out to Jay who owns it. Amazing gym. They have a very bright future ahead of themselves. And then I realized, I think after so long of doing group classes, man, after being exposed to that, it's really hard to go back to doing your own thing.
It is.
Plus me being in Portsmouth, Rye is 15, 20 minutes away. It ended up being like a 2.5 hour commitment to go there and back and work out and get dressed. So me now being a very busy business owner running around the Seacoast all the time, it just became a major time suck.
Yeah.
So how more convenient could it be that Studio One is literally Studio One Portsmouth, literally right next to where I live. So I said, all right, I can get a great bang for my buck workout wise. It's right next to me. I can get all sweaty in that 45-minute class and feel like I really accomplished something. And it takes very little time out of my day.
Sure.
All of that coupled with, I know it's a great space. I know the people, I know the values and the mission. And I want to be part of that energy. And now as I personally, now that I'm a yoga instructor and a lot more in touch with my feminine side, there is a strong feminine energy here, both literally in all the women running around this place, but also in the workout classes. You're playing a lot of the music that I love, a lot of the party jams. I've, become fond of dance parties recently. So all of those factors are why I'm here now.
I need you to stop selling the feminine energy and get more male energy in here. Yeah, that's really the goal.
You and me both, sister. I do not know how to get men to do anything in this area. My audience, 70% women, my dinner clubs, like we have one token man at every table. My dating show where I literally had women on a silver platter for men to, try to go impress. Crickets, couldn't get them to do anything. So this is a problem we need to figure out how to solve.
Yes, all of the above. It is a challenging code to crack, but I'm going to get creative one of these days. Yeah. It's typically them getting dragged in by a girlfriend or a wife or someone to just try it. And, mixed reviews, but we always are trying to figure out like how to get more guys in here. Cause I think like you're saying, it's like music is our brand. Like we play good music and it's like we play upbeat energy, like upbeat, energetic music. It's dance music, but it's like music that makes you want to move, because if you don't have good music, I don't want anything to do with it, and it's that simple where, it all depends on what you're looking for. And I get that, but guys have been tough to get in. But those that come stay and love it. And it's like, you just got to try it. And I think it's the trying it for the first time is the challenge.
Yeah. And I mean, and on that note, and just for anyone going back to your point about barriers, I would say of all of the different types of workouts you can do, of which there are many, I would say spin is probably the easiest. I don't mean easiest in terms of the workout itself. Sure. I mean easiest in terms of all I have to do is strap my feet in here and pedal.
Yeah.
You're not there. You can't really have bad form on a spin bike like you could lifting weights.
Yeah,
okay,
sure,
maybe
you can, but it's not as detrimental.
It's not as detrimental.
Right? It can't cause like an immediate
yeah,
injury.
if you have bad form lifting weights or many other things, you're going to hurt yourself and it's dangerous. So I would say spin is probably, if you're never really exercised before and you want to, I would say spin is probably the best place to start.
It absolutely is. And I think it's so interesting to me where people are they are intimidated by it. And look, like I've been in the world for now 10 years, as we've seen, like it's all I know. And so there's a lot of things that I can't see for the first time, right? And I'm aware of that. If I were to look at this from the outside, having never done it before, I can imagine it seems really intimidating just because all you see on Instagram is like fun choreography and stuff like that. And that is in the classes. It absolutely is. But it's not about whether you're doing it or not, where the benefit is. And I think it is the most approachable exercise because first of all, it's a dark room. So like if you're worried about people,
I love about that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm like, if you're worried about people seeing you, not nailing it, like, first of all, we don't give a shit. We just want you there. Second of all, no one can see you because it's dark and you just sit in the back. And like, there is zero expectation on our end of like, we don't expect anyone to be able to do it in the first class. Try first 10 classes. It's like, that is the one thing is you want to be able to do all the stuff on day one and you can't. And so it's like, are those people going to be willing to come back and like keep chipping away at it? Cause it just takes reps. But as far as the intro, like the entry level that you need, it's zero. Like you don't need to have worked out a day in your life to do spin. And you absolutely don't have to get in shape before you come to classes here. I hear that all the time. And it's honestly, I think, a knee-jerk reaction for people when I'm out in the world and they maybe haven't worked out in a while. Like they think they have to get in shape before they come to classes. And I'm like, well, that's hilarious because I wouldn't have a business if that was the case. Like we actually are for that person, like specifically for that person. And you can take it at your own pace. Like we're just up there having a ball. Like you can choose to do what you want. I'm not going to, like I said from the beginning, I'm not going to shame you. I'm glad you showed up here today. Like that's important to me. And like how much you want out of this is always going to be up to you. I'm going to lead and push from my angle, but like you decide what you want. And on a bike, you just go slower. You just don't add the upper body part of it or the choreography part. If you're not a rhythm person, it's also okay. You can still get a killer workout and listen to amazing music and leave sweaty as hell. Like depending on what your goals are, right? So there's so many different reasons for people to walk into that space. I agree with you. I think spin is the perfect entry point for anybody. And like, I was that person. And I want to state that as like, for anyone who hasn't maybe listened to the old episode or like knows anything about the story, like I'm someone who hates exercise and I own a gym. So the reason for that is I created an environment that I wanted. And I think you asked me a question in the first episode of like, oh, is this like, I don't know if you asked me if it was like a selfish decision or not.
Oh yes, that's right.
Something like that. And I just had never had it framed in that way, but I absolutely think it was like, I wanted a culture that I wanted to be a part of. I wanted a community that I needed to stay consistent and excited so I could feel better because I'm a person that like stagnancy is like the death of me. And it is the one mode that my body goes into when I'm overwhelmed. I just shut down. I want to do nothing. And I have to fight that often because I deal with stress like anybody else. It's like I'm dealing with overwhelm and stress, and that's my coping mechanism is to shut down, and it is the worst thing for my mental health. And I struggle in the same way with staying consistent and having a place to come to that you can rely on that lifts you up, and you always feel better leaving. Like I would want to pull our membership base and ask them, and I want to know how many people walk out of here feeling worse than when they walked in, because I can guarantee it's nobody. Right. It's nobody. You always feel better, but doing the thing is the hardest. Getting up out of bed is probably the hardest part. Getting in motion is the hardest part. So if we can create a space for someone who's new to this kind of thing and new to showing up for themselves in this way, then like the world is your oyster. Like you can feel like an entirely different person in a matter of a month, even less. After your first class, I would even say people are like, what the heck was that? Like, that was incredible. I never thought that I would like this. We hear that all the time. It's just this like genuine surprised feeling because of what people's preconceived ideas are about it. But like you said, it is all fitness levels. Anybody can walk in this space and be okay. Like we're never going to be mad or upset at you or like whatever the fear is that holds people back from trying something like this. It's not from a space of judgment from us. Right? It really is most of the stuff is, again, coming back to our belief systems about ourselves, right? That's what we're fighting with, trying to get people in the door.
Yeah.
And it's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Like it's a tough business, period. And like you said, you just had different reasons. You've hopped around for different reasons, like convenience reasons, time, energy, like all of those things shift at any given moment within someone's life. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have there's sometimes a transient group, and we're constantly, trying to find the best option for everyone, but you can never please everybody. And that's a tough truth too.
Yeah. And we haven't said it yet, but this place does have way more than spin now. Yes. You guys have evolved through the years. We now have strength classes, power classes, yoga, Pilates, right?
Bar, some sculpt in there.
You've got Katy, great hire, by the way. You guys recently brought her. She's one of my co-teachers at Three Bridges Yoga, arguably the best yoga teacher in the area. And she also is a DJ. She leads Ecstatic Dance, but she'll also be doing some like live DJ rides going forward. Yeah. So that's going to be so fun. I can't wait for that.
She's got a nice box of tricks, that one. She's very cool. Very grateful to have her on the team.
She's great. Okay, back to the story. You are so inspiring and have so much to offer. All right, so in late 2024, you are approached about the possibility of acquiring Mission out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Take me back to that time, what that first conversation was. Paint the picture for me.
I don't know what's appropriate to say on this, if I can swear or not, but I probably already have.
Swear what?
Yeah, it was a text message and from the owner of Mission, and I hadn't spoken to her since I walked out the door. So needless to say, it wasn't the greatest exit. As I look back on it, we didn't have a great relationship. So we hadn't spoken. And that was kind of always looming over me, after all this time, opening a business in the Seacoast, not having repaired that. So I got a text message from her saying, hey, if you're open to chatting, would be down for that. And so essentially,
if you're open to chatting about acquiring or just, hey, do you want to catch up?
There was a lot going on, another studio had just popped up.
Right.
So that is really what shifted the climate. And she was calling that out essentially and saying, if you're open to chatting, which I first, my stomach went into my asshole because I hadn't seen this name on my phone in 8 years. So it was a shock, but it was also this I don't know if you've had, maybe you had it when you had the idea of doing this podcast. It's this deep stomach hurts, but good fear. You're oh shit, that's exciting, but that's also fucking terrifying. What? Really? Is this real? And then you start to think about the possible scenarios. Is this actually something that's viable? How crazy would that be? I can't believe this is happening. So needless to say, I was pacing around my house and I was oh my God, this I just didn't expect it. So this opportunity was not something I prepared for or planned for. It came to me. And when I look at it from a business sense, I see a huge opportunity being in the West End, being in a beautiful space that we haven't done really anything other than a little cosmetic, some branding too. I see a fully built out studio with 3 rooms, other modalities and props. I see such great potential for us to expand. And I'm well, that's an amazing idea to get into Portsmouth. What a way to do that without having to build out a whole new studio. So choosing to acquire a business is very much a choice versus starting from the ground up and building your own. They're 2 very different paths. And I have now done both. I don't know if I would acquire a business again. I think it would have to be very much the perfect storm, kind of like what this was. I would not say it was a perfect storm. It was a messy storm, but it was an opportunity for me and something that I was never going to touch Portsmouth, to be honest, because there was enough I said that actually, hot take. I said it in the first episode. I was like, yeah, it's just not for us.
Yeah. 6 months later.
6 months later. Yeah. So literally though, I think it was 6 months later, that possibility became true because I saw just certain elements of the scenario that made sense where I was like, maybe this is possible. Okay. And then that was in like November. Okay. Like we took over in February a year ago. So what's today? I don't even know what today is, 19th or something.
Yeah.
I might have made that up. So it's the end of mid-January right now, and we had taken over a year ago, February 1st. So when I'm telling you, like everything happened so fast because none of it was finalized. So we couldn't really like publicize it because there was so much like legal stuff that had to happen in the background, like a lot of hoops to jump through that could rip this right out from underneath us.
Oh, really?
Yes. So there was a lot of things that we were sorting out in the background. And because we were acting fast, like I have an investor that has allowed us to be nimble rather than having to go through the bank. That's what made this possible was like we were able to act fast and take this quickly. But what that meant was like the ripple effect of having to act fast is you don't have time with your teams to prepare for what this is going to be. And like that in hindsight, we acted as we thought was appropriate. However, like impact and intent don't always line up, right? Like that doesn't always land well for everybody. So like she had a team that was managing being taken over by someone else, which is very like in a space like this, we're emotionally tied. It's like a home that you've poured your life into and your energy into. It's not an easy thing. And that was being uprooted for them. And so like, I fully respect everyone that her whole team at that time that like we went through conversations and I was acting out of the best interests for my business, but also like that isn't always the best interest for theirs and like for them as people. So it worked out as it was meant to work out. But like I made decisions out of just wanting to take care of everybody, but it's just truly not possible. It's not, especially in like a situation like that. And I didn't want it to feel like a hostile takeover, but I think it absolutely did to the staff because it happened so fast. And I can understand there was not enough, say like mourning time for them or like grieving time, because it is like, things are changing and change is not fun for anybody. Even if there is a light at the end of the tunnel or there's positive, like, we have such positive vision and like, we want to make a positive impact on the space. You can't feel that in the heat of the moment. It all happened so fast. So like, we really couldn't publicize it until the very last, like, I want to say a couple weeks.
Stories live.
Till Seco, which was, 2
January
weeks.
9th,
So that was, only a few weeks before. The other crazy thing was we decided because we wanted to have a fighting chance and we were hoping that we could capture as many members that were at mission and like we wanted to retain as many of them as possible just to see if they would give us a chance, And I think that was, again, like when you don't have trust, you don't have anything. So they don't know us. And there was a lot of people that like were like, I'm out. Once they found out, they're out. And that's okay.
So how'd you go about trying to convince them to stick around?
What we did, gosh, I feel like I blacked out a lot of the time. I'm like, what did we do? So we tried to make decisions, whether that's how it was perceived from the outside or not, is like we are trying to slowly roll out the changes because the way we ran our business was very different than how it was run before. The rules and expectations we have, whether that's from staff or like membership, like we just have a different operation. And so when you come in, we're trying to wiggle and inch our way forward with like small changes over time, but then it becomes like a death by a million cuts. So that is really hard for us because we're trying to be kind and compassionate, but also we have a business to run and we need this to be successful and we're losing money. And like all the business stuff gets in the way of like what you want to do, right? For everybody. And we are not the same business. So I think there's a lot of expectations of like, well, I'm here and I've been going here for years and they're mad at us for doing it differently because they've been members for so long, but it's like, we just aren't that business. So the expectations of how it was run before, it's always hard when you change that. And so we were just trying to navigate like what people's needs were and respond in a way while also staying true to us and like trying to instill our culture and our expectations. And it just was a really uphill battle for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it took us about 6 months, I would say, for it to really start to feel like Studio One in here. Like I'm telling you, we didn't do anything in this space until the day before we opened. Like they closed
I remember
for
walking
one
by.
day.
I remember walking by the day before you opened. You guys are like completely transforming this place in a day.
Stickers off of bikes.
Yeah.
Like we're reapplying decals. We're like taking down whatever we could, visually painting over things like in one day. Like I'm telling you, we didn't have access to the space. We weren't operating out of it. We didn't change a thing. Like we had one studio on Friday and on Saturday we had two and we had to figure it out. And I was like in this space and I was like, I don't even know where the scissors are. Like, don't ask me. It's like, I don't know anything about anything. It was like operating in a house, like living in a house that wasn't yours. It was so bizarre, but you're expected to, like, you're the business owner and like it's your studio, but nothing feels like it's yours. It was such a strange time.
Yeah.
And all of us, like it took every ounce out of all of us because now you have to expand your operations and thin your team out basically to get it done. So it's like, we're talking 15-hour days over and over and over and over and over again. Me, Mary, Rachel, instructors, like stepping up,
right, from your Dover location.
From my Dover location, like people having to come work. And then we had to hire as quickly as we could. Like we doubled in size.
Because you also lost a lot of the mission staff, right?
Yeah.
Most of them did not stay.
Yeah, there was a majority. I'd say the majority left. It was about half, a little under half stayed. And I commend every single one of them for being open-minded enough to do that. And we still have some of them on our team. And I just like love to see how they've integrated into our culture, and how our team runs now and how we support each other. It's been really cool. Like that experience is all happening in the background. It's not something that's visible. I mean, maybe it is by the energy in the space or how they show up to some members that knew them before. But I would say like, it's one of my proudest moments is just the team dynamic and how we blended and like mended that bridge. And they gave us a chance. And it was a lot of just building trust, like over and over and over again in small moments, and a lot of grace and just trying to understand. And it was a huge change for people. But the ones that stuck it out, like, I'm just so happy that that's how it played out, and where we're sitting right now. But again, like a year ago, you know, we weren't in this space exactly a year ago, but February 1st, we decided to move in, and then we're just running 2 studios and trying to figure it out. And like, you want to please everybody. I'm naturally a people pleaser, which I will tell you, like, doesn't get you very far as a business owner. Yeah. And it's actually a huge detriment to my personality type. And I will say it's something I'm working on, because getting shit done is hard when you're a people pleaser. But that's also your greatest asset when you're trying to be a compassionate leader, which is what I'm trying to do. I do want to be somebody that feels like they're a safe space to go to, but also respect enough to be honest with, transparent with, work hard for, those types of things. So having compassion and a heart is important, but when you need to get shit done and make decisions on behalf of the good of the whole, you can't make everybody happy.
Right.
We figured it out, and it stressed our systems out. It broke every system we had. It broke every system we had, and it forced us to be serious about everything. Like, this is a legit business now. I mean, this is a big monster. Yeah. Like, I have a team of 44 people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
44 people.
And when you were at Dover, you were just...
I don't know, maybe under 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was under 20. So we definitely doubled basically everything. But to think about the amount of like the number of people that are impacted by this place on just an employee standpoint, and then you think about the number of members. This is a big monster now. And like, we have to be so crystal clear in every facet of what we're doing. And that is what dictates our culture, is communication, and clear communication. And like, we didn't always have that. Like, you knew, I think in the last episode, like, my business was in a much different place then. And I was experiencing the lessons of just like getting into business with whoever, because you need to.
Does the pressure of all of that, the number of mouths to feed, so to speak, the number of members, 2 studios, does that get to you?
I try not to think about the membership number, because that's a lot larger, but the team, like, I would say the team, the pressure of taking care of the team when Sometimes you can't even take care of yourself. Like any business owner knows that. It's a part of the journey. And like opening a new studio is very much starting from ground zero in some places. So knowing that there's always, it's a sacrifice in some form or the other. And my goal now, it used to be the experience and teaching my classes and the impact on members. But like that is completely shifted to my role is to take care of my people because their job is to take care of the community.
Yeah.
And handle that and make this culture what it is. And so if I'm not taking care of them, then I'm missing the plot. And as a small business, it's really hard to provide what it takes to survive, especially in the Seacoast. Like that's just an honest truth. Like anywhere, but especially here, like it is not a cheap place to live at the bare minimum. That's one expense we have, but it's like, I want good people that give a shit. And like finding that working in a small business that's like constantly evolving and like having to roll with the punches and figure it out and it's messy. It's like, it's very specific individuals. And I have such an amazing team that has like ridden this ride with me and they've seen me at my absolute worst. They've also seen me at my best, but like we support each other. We've all seen each other in this way, but like we see the vision and we're united in that. And it's like, how do I retain good people like I have right now when we have limited resources, right? Like we're a small business. So that's the weight that weighs on me is for sure my team and being able to take care of everybody.
Yeah. I'm relating so hard to a lot of what you're saying right now. I'm sure in a perfect world, you would love to just focus on teaching the best spin classes possible. That's what you are. That's what you fell in love with. That's why you're in this business. Me, I love this. This is my favorite part of what I do. But now it's become so much more than that. It has now become my business as well. So I'm having all sorts of conversations all the time with people that are completely unrelated to content, which is my bread and butter, which is what I love to do. And to be fully transparent, like 30 minutes before we press record, I was in the midst of a panic attack about the business and the 5 meetings I have this week related to trying to make this thing work. So I fully get what you're saying.
It is so real and like, it is so true. And this is a journey. It's like being an entrepreneur is hard. Having a 9-to-5 is hard. Being in a relationship is hard. Being single is hard. It's choose your hard. And the thing is, like, that's the crazy part of it. It's like, you know, people who aren't entrepreneurial in their spirit may be like, well, why are you doing that then? Just like go do something else. So you can't. Like once it's in your bones, like you just can't. Like it's the constant pull. Like I'm unemployable now. Like there is no way that I'm working for someone else, even though like the challenges that come along with entrepreneurship are so real. And so it's tied to your livelihood. So then you add that layer where it's not like everything that you do impacts your sustainability moving forward, which is when it gets really scary. But again, it comes back to, you have to trust yourself, because if like going against it is not the answer by going to find something else to do. It's like, you just have to see yourself through these moments because it's going to ebb and flow. And like you reach a new level and then you get really panicky and scared and then you break through that and then you get to the next one. And it never gets easier. It just gets different. Like the hard gets different and the challenges get different. And, but that's the journey that I think has expanded myself and my life and how I move through the world. It's challenged me in every single facet. Talk about belief systems. Like I have the same inner critic in my head that you have, and she's not very nice. And it's like, I'm constantly fighting that person, because when you're caught up, and this is when I get emotional, is because you get caught up in all the bullshit. You get caught up in all the comments and the negativity and the opinions and the angry people, and you forget what you're doing and the impact you're having. When all it takes is one person to listen to a podcast episode of yours to be inspired to go do something. Like your choices, your conversations make a difference, just like my instructors make a difference on people's lives. And I make a difference on people's lives by having this space here. And you forget about that when you're caught up in the bullshit of the business and trying to grow it, because you want to be innovative and you want to be forward thinking, but you also want to stay true to yourself and you need resources to grow. And it's like, you can't always do the things you want to do, but you have a vision, and it's like just constantly chipping away at it. And it's about the forward motion and the consistency. And I think that is the lesson for life. Keep moving forward and stay consistent, and everything is going to work.
Yeah. I think a big reason why I love your story so much and why I felt so drawn to you since we first spoke way back when, was that we have a lot of similarities in our backstories. To remind people, you bounced all over the country, barista in Seattle, you were teaching in Nashville, you were teaching in California, and then COVID shut things down. And I think you described it in the first episode as you were just kind of meandering through life, trying to find your way. And I very much did the same thing, meandering, moving from place to place, looking for a home. You're from the Seacoast, you're from Maine. You eventually realized, I want to be surrounded by my people. And you came back here and started your own business in the barn. In your parents' barn, illegally running a spin studio. And I say all this to say, one of my go-to phrases these days is, in hindsight, everything makes sense. Everything that you did has prepared you, even though it certainly didn't feel like that way in the moment, I'm sure, has prepared you for what you're doing now. And it's a beautiful story you are writing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely layered. But when I look back, it's that constant reminder and that lesson, again, coming back to trusting yourself. It's like, what's hard is hard now, but like in the future, you're going to look back. There's always something that comes from that. Always. And it's like, whether it was, you're always going to learn something, right? And that's what becomes everything that you are, is like the hard moments you overcome.
And they prepare you for the success. I kind of had this starving artist mentality for a while that I kind of liked. Like I'm bouncing around from artistic project to artistic project. Maybe this will be the thing that pops off, and it never did. But then Seacoast Stories popped off and I was like, oh shit, I've got something here. But it makes it scary in ways that it wasn't before. Now every podcast, every post, every event has so much more riding on it now.
More to lose.
Like, wait, I have more to lose. I have to be very mindful with what I say. Whereas in the past, when as many people weren't reading, listening, watching, whatever, I could be more willy-nilly. But now I have to be very mindful of what I put out.
I think it's definitely something I grapple with. I've kind of, whether people think this or not, it's just, I've always kind of been in the background of the studio when it comes to like social media and those things. Like you can scroll through our page. I don't think every other post is about me, right? Like this business is not, Studio One is Katy Marshall. It's very much a very large team. And there are so many reasons why people go to the studio. And I think this topic that you're bringing up about the fear of like really being out there is something that I grapple with too. Really? Yeah.
You dance half naked on a bike in front of 50 people.
That's going to get the guys to come. No, it's so interesting. How do I explain that? I think a lot of performers in general are very much, when they're in their element, they're great. But then like you meet them in person, it's like they're quiet or like they're reserved or they don't know how to be. But like for me, I don't feel like I'm that. But there's definitely a version of me in that room that comes alive when I'm uninhibited, so to speak. And it's the same person that comes alive at a wedding on a dance floor. Like I'll be the last person to peel off the dance floor, and I love to move and I love music and dance. And like, not that I was ever trained in that. It's just something that really lights me up. Which I'm so grateful for. We were talking about like, can you imagine if music was not in your life or an important component? I can't like picture my life without it. It just brings so much color and energy. But now I'm forgetting my point. Oh, about being seen. Like in general, it's like the larger you get, it's like the cost to play the game is embarrassment, I think. And it's like, there's always going to be a moment that when you put yourself out there, people are going to have their opinions. They're going to jump on it, create something, like make something up, or just be negative and dark. And it's like, but you're the one playing the game. It's like the Brene Brown moment. It's like, who cares what people in the cheap seats are saying? It's the people in the arena that matter. You're playing the game. And again, you can't make everybody happy, but you have to be yourself, because that's going to be so painful if you're showing up inauthentically and just trying to please everybody. Like I said before, having that as a part of my nature is challenging when being a business owner, because I wasn't trained in business. I wasn't passionate about business. It goes against a lot of my like nature. It's like, what? Like I have to have this conversation now? Like what the hell? Like whatever it is, it's all hard. but you do your best. And like, I think showing up authentically is the only way to be. And like, as you get older, like, how does it feel to be 30 now? Any different?
No,
you're like the same. Just wait, just give it a little time. But it's like, as I get older anyways, I feel like I become more and more and more and more sure of myself. And it's just gaining confidence. And the only way to gain confidence is to do the thing. You can't just have confidence. You have to learn it and you have to earn it. That's the tough part. And like when people see others that have had such success, it's like they've put themselves out there consistently and they've done the hard thing, even when it's scary, like the same lessons across the board. And it's like, it's clear. It's nice when you get a win though, like you get the validation. Isn't it nice when people respond and you're like, oh shit, this is like actually might work.
Yeah.
And it's like something that you knew, but like you needed to hear from someone else.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always nice when you get that.
Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't ask. You did say toward the beginning of the whole acquisition story that the former mission owner, Mindy, had texted you because she could see the fitness studio landscape changing in the area. A different studio, which I believe you're referring to, Sweat Studios, opened up in Portsmouth as well. I believe opened by former Studio One Dover employees, right?
Yeah. And mission employees. Yeah. Okay.
How do you think about dealing with competition in the area, if you will? Because I've heard from a lot of people in the yoga worlds that even though yoga is such like a loving and peace loving people,
right?
At least so it seems, it can be competitive between studios. People are making you sign non-competes and people are making you X, Y, and Z, which is like not the point. Let's get as much fitness to as many people as possible and as much wellness to as many people as possible. So when you think about competition in the area, how do you view it?
I love this question. Answering a year later from all of that, I have a not a different outlook. It's just the truth feels more true. Competition is a gift. And I say that because it challenges you to really refine who you are. And it forces you to solidify that. And I think that's what has happened over the last year. We obviously expanded very fast and unexpectedly. That spread us thin. We reacted. We grew. Now it's like, okay, the only thing that people cannot take from me is my culture. The only thing. Everything else you can find online. Like I can get certified online to teach yoga and go do that. Or like someone can go get trained at a studio and open their own space. Like that stuff, the technical piece of it doesn't matter. But how we make people feel is the only secret sauce that no one else can do. Everything will feel, sure, it'll be similar. I think people are nailing it. There are so many studios that have an amazing culture. I've been to them. But nothing will be ours, right? And I think that's where competition, as much as it's terrifying because you're like, oh my God, this is potentially a threat, right? Because that feeling of a threat is always a little bigger than it really is. It challenges you and you're scared because you want everybody to choose us, right? But at the end of the day, it filters. Like competition is great because you don't have to serve everybody. Like if they're not for you, they can go somewhere else. And like, that's also a great thing because maybe they're more aligned. That's awesome. But like what I think it's the best thing it can do and the best thing it did for us was like, no, this is who we are and why we're different and unique. And that feeling is something that no one else can create, no matter how hard anyone tries. Like it's just not going to happen. And so I say that now, I love competition, but when it happened, it sucked. And that's the honest truth. Like you never want to see it. It's kind of your worst nightmare, especially when it's people that used to work for you. But more power to them. Like everybody, women in business, go for it. It's not an easy thing to do, and especially in fitness, but this is a small community, as you've seen. Like everyone loves to create whatever they want to say about a situation. But I know, like having lived through it, like it looked really messy. It was really messy. But at the end of it, like what a gift all of us have. They have a space that feels like it's for them. We have 2 locations. This place feels like home to us now. And that's it.
So being a year into now running the Portsmouth business, what emotions come to mind for you as you reflect on 10 years ago, first stepping into the walls of Mission, working there, acquiring it, at the beginning of last year and now running the very place that you used to work at. What has that been like?
It's been a really cool experience, for lack of a better word. Like, I, first of all, didn't expect it. I wasn't ever sure if I was going to repair that relationship. And so as much as this is very much a business decision and an opportunity, the choice to move forward with it had a lot of emotion tied to it, and a lot of kind of underlying, like, I like to refer to it as like a closing of a loop. It felt, I left this place undone, if you will. And I didn't have, at that point when I walked away, I didn't have a vision for being a business owner. Like, I just wanted to teach. Like, that was the ceiling I had. I was like, I just want to teach. I don't know where, I don't know how. And that's why I started to move around and like try and find other communities and do the soul cycle thing. And so when the opportunity came up, I was like, oh my God, like, I could not ever have pictured this as being the picture. Like, I could never have created that if I tried. I never would have thought that that was even a possibility, let alone, like, I didn't even think I would walk in this space ever again, let alone like own it, and have the opportunity to do that. And I will say, having conversations with Mindy, the old owner, she said that I was the right person for the job. If she was going to pass it to anybody, she wanted to pass it to us.
Wow.
And that to me felt like it was something that, one, validated what we're doing, something I never expected to hear from her. It was a really cool full circle moment for me energetically, which was happening underneath the surface of all of this. Was like, how amazing is it that the last time I was here, I was really sad when I walked out. I was really sad. I actually was crying in the parking lot to my best friend, like sobbing on the other end of the parking lot because I didn't know what to do. I was just like heartbroken walking away from something that I loved, but I had to. And to now be able to come back and kind of put our own energy in this space and like rejuvenate it and make it feel like home, and something I always wanted it to feel like before, is just... it's hard to put to words. It was so unexpected, but it was one of the coolest moments of my life to have this opportunity. And it still almost feels fake sometimes. Like, it's one of those things that's happening, but it doesn't feel real. And it's starting to set in now, even a year later, I would say. But it's a part of the story I never could have written out if I tried.
In the last year, have you heard from the owner, Mindy, at all? Does she check in on the business at all? Is she active in it?
No, yeah, she's not active in the business at all. She's actually a member here.
Cool. So
she takes classes once in a while. Yeah, everything is fine there. Yeah. Just really glad to have kind of mended that relationship, and it is what it is. And she seems to be doing great.
You are always working on something. So, what's next for Studio One?
Hopefully nothing crazy. No, I think this year, to be truthful, is really one focused on stabilizing. And I say that now in January. So hopefully I'm saying the same thing at the end of the year. But like I said, I'm open to all paths forward here. But no, I really think we've made so much change. It's only been since I taught the first class in the barn, it's 5 years, but really since we were in Dover, a little over 4. So 4.5, I would say, years. And every year we've had kind of a massive shift in the business. So whether we opened we moved from downtown to outside of Dover, then we opened the second location. So this year, I really want to hone in on, again, our culture, what's happening within our team, how to keep people close and connected and supported, and how to grow that, but really just maximize our footprint here, like without changing anything crazy. We have some cosmetic updates we want to make of the space in Portsmouth, definitely. We have some things coming down the line of what we're adding to the Portsmouth space, which I think will be really great to round out our offerings and just push more of a lifestyle, a wellness lifestyle, I should say. But we're adding some stuff here. I really want to start exploring more events, more educational opportunities, more pop-ups. potentially retreats, just planting that seed. But yeah, Studio One retreats would be a dream of mine to get rolling this year. But yeah, really just getting out into the community more. Like that's ultimately what I'm looking to do. More brand partnerships. The space in Portsmouth is beautiful for that. It's a great opportunity to have extra, whether it's vendors or people popping in, like it's really pretty in that sense. But yeah, I just want to maximize what we're doing here now without, reaching outside of the Seacoast. Just how do we make the most of it?
Big mantra for Studio this January, just show up January, you were calling it.
Yeah.
Why was that the mantra that you were working with this month? The look in your face.
It all comes from a good place, and it's like a mild call out, but it's also, we want it to feel relatable in the sense like we are all human beings and we know that things can get in the way of you showing up, but the late cancels are leaving half empty rooms or like a lot of open spots for people.
Because you have to reserve classes.
You have to reserve a spot in class. And if you're canceling within, the 8 hours before class, that spot opens up. Not everyone can hope that they can get in. And so if they're on a wait list, like that isn't enough of a sure bet for them to plan their day around it. And so it can get dicey when we have all these waitlisted classes, which happens. Like there are fluctuations where all these classes are waitlisted and we need people to show up to those spots because there are people that want them. And if they're not showing up, then that leaves it's open, which is just I hate to say that waitlists are a problem because it's a great problem to have. Oh, you have demand for your classes, but really it does create a problem if you don't have that fine line. And the trouble is we can't just add classes to the schedule because if those don't fill, then it's a loss. It's always going to be a loss. So like we have to be very strategic, and those changes also impact the people teaching them. So that's a schedule change in our instructors. So it's not super easy to just throw classes on when you have demand. So the Just Show Up challenge came from a place of like, how do we incentivize people to not bail on their reservations?
Right.
How do we push people in just a very simple way without anything tied to it? We're not doing like a number of classes per month. We're not anything. It's just show up. Like if you don't late cancel in the month of January, you could win cash in your pocket, $150. So,
and speaking of cash, also the late cancels and just the straight up no shows, you get charged fees for that, but it doesn't seem to dissuade people.
That's the thing that I'm like, this is maybe a hot take. I don't think it is, but like as a business owner, you'd probably think like, yeah, she wants my money. I don't want your $10. I actually want you in the studio because your energy is worth way more than that. And what you're trying to accomplish is worth way more than that. As much as late cancel fees go to my, top line, it's not helpful for the energy in the space. And it's not what I actually want. So I'm not banking my business on you canceling. I actually really want people to show up. And so that fee amount, having it, you'd think would be a deterrent, but there are still some disparities with that. And we saw like a huge trend kind of last fall. We're just like, what can we do, to like stop this without jacking up prices of late fees? Cause that also sucks, and there's a fine line with that. Like, I don't want to just be charging people left and right, but also like these spots are desired and wanted, and I need members in them. And so what's something we can do to get them in the habit? And just show up. It is that simple. Like stay committed. Don't bail on yourself. Like I know how tempting Netflix can be. Like just get out the door. I know how cold it is, and I get it.
My car.
And we're all so similar in that way. And I just think this was our attempt at a challenge to directly impact that behavior.
Yeah.
And how could we do it in a gentle way?
Yeah.
It's like, just show up. That's it.
Now, someone might be listening to this and say, Katy, I go to Studio One, I pay X amount for whichever membership I have. You're telling me I can sign up for a class and not get into it? This is my gym. What do you mean I just can't go to this class that I want to go to? Do you think about that at all?
Yes, I think about it all the time. And as much as I want to say we are killing it and just rolling in profits, it's just not the case. So like I said before, with that, our pricing comes into play with the decisions we make based on the behavior, based on the memberships that we have. And how there are so many pieces to this puzzle that you're trying to put together when you have a number of spots that's capped. Like, it's not like Planet Fitness where you can have 100 people in there at a time. It's like, yeah, we only have so much square footage and we can only fit so many mats at this specific time for that specific class. So this is a problem we're constantly working on in the background. And it bugs me too. Trust me, it doesn't feel good when people are discouraged about wait lists, but we do have a membership option that allows you early access for that reason. But that isn't the solution to the issue. It's like, we definitely need to, one, change the behavior that, like, when you reserve, please show up. You know, you're booking that spot and you're preventing someone else from getting that spot. So, like, please go. It's not always that easy. And I understand. But that is what's happening. Also, we are working in the background because both locations, I also want to point out, operate very differently in their needs. Like, the client base is different in what they react to. From a time standpoint, modality standpoint, we have 3 rooms in Portsmouth versus Dover. We have a little more wiggle room as far as number of classes, but Portsmouth is so much more expensive to operate than Dover. It's not even funny because of this location and this building. Like, yeah, it's a primo spot. So, like, there are differences in the cash out for sure when it comes to each location. So we're trying to be as strategic as possible without oversaturating your schedule and having a bunch of half empty or half full classes. So we're constantly trying to crack that puzzle. There's also fluctuations in season and time of year. And then there's school, and then there's summer, and then there's the winter time. Like, there are always elements at play that impact people's ability to get here. But yes, like, to any member who's like, well, I can't get into classes and I'm a paying member, that is the truth. And it's something that we constantly are trying to problem solve. And that perfect balance doesn't exist because you're dealing with hundreds of people's behavior, and they're the ones reserving the classes and choosing to show up or not. So it's a tough one. And I don't think I have a good rebuttal for anyone who's like, well, I'm a paying member and I can't get in.
Yeah, being a business owner is hard. If there's one thing we've taken away from this conversation.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I think you're doing great.
It's hard and it's beautiful. I think that's where it's just a good representation of what life is. It's like constantly having to navigate a new thing. And when you have a big team, it's like every day you're getting a piece of bad news. Like, you just have to prepare yourself for that. Like, and that muscle comes with time. Like, you're always trying to problem solve something else. Which then challenges you. And, you know, you're on a phone with a plumber one day, and then you're like fixing the audio equipment the next, or like a bike breaks, or there's no hot water. I don't know. Like, you're just constantly reacting to those types of things. But all of that being said, like, the high moments are really high, and like the good moments are really good. And the purpose of the business, all of the nitty gritty that happens to make it happen, is why we're still doing it and why we're just digging our heels in and like grinding it out.
Well, I'm glad you love it, because you're unemployable and there's no going back.
Yeah, there's no going back. There is no going back.
For anyone who has made it to this point, we have a fun deal to offer Seacoast Stories listeners. Katy, what is that?
Yeah, we are offering half off of a trial month. So it's typically $49 for your first month to try us out. It's all unlimited classes. You get early access booking. Also, both locations. There's no limitations to this. This is our top tier membership. But you get it for a month and you can try us out. But for Seacoast Stories listeners, you can get it at half off. So
how about that? The best deal in town for Studio One. $25 for your first trial month. And how do they redeem this?
So you'd have to go on our website. When you sign up for the trial, you'd enter a promo code COASTY26.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All one word.
COASTY's 26 is with an S.
COASTY26.
COASTY26.
I'll put the right one in the show notes, whatever it is.
Yeah, COASTY26. Check the show notes. But for that promo code, you'll get a discount, and then you can see what we're about. And I think we touched on the fact that there's something for everybody, no matter what your level is. Yeah.
If you sign up, let me know what classes you're coming up to. I would love to sweat next to you. Although, as I've said on the past, I hate talking to people at fitness studios. Like, it's funny. I left Flight House in the solo workout because I wanted to be working out around people again, but I don't want to talk to those people. I just want to know that they're there. I feed off the energy from the room, but like, don't look at me, don't talk to me.
That's hilarious. Good to know if Troy's ever in class with you.
Oh yeah, no,
don't talk to him.
I feel bad because like I love your team, Rachel, Mary, you, and I'm just an antisocial person when I'm here. I love you all and want to talk to you all, but not here.
I can 1000% relate to that.
Yeah.
Like I really can. And as much as like when I'm instructing, I'm very outgoing and loud. It's like, I'm also very much off when I'm off. And like your job is to talk to people. Yeah. And so it almost makes sense. Like, just please don't, not today. This is my time. You know, this is my time. Like, let me have it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Katy Marshall, owner of Studio One in Dover and Portsmouth. And I'm sure she'll own 5 billion other things in the future. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks
for having me again. It was fun.
Big thank you again to Katy Marshall, the owner of Studio One. Can confirm that promo code is COASTY26, all one word. If you would like to join me on a mat or a bike soon, you can head over to Studio One's website to redeem today for a great deal. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to those of you who have signed up for our New Market Dinner Club, which is happening on a Friday night. We've been doing Wednesdays. This is going to be on a Friday, so it'll be an even bigger party. We've got 60 people signed up as I'm talking right now, so this will be big. Link in the show notes to sign up for that. It's presented by our dear friends at Maine Love Water Company, which I'm so excited to partner with them on this event. If you want to join in on the club that is taking over the Seacoast, we'd love to see you there. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Go Patriots. I will talk to you all on Monday.